Hello everyone, welcome to Marlin Chess Kids. Today I'll show the gameplay by Rene and Alvaro, and this beautiful game complete in only 22 moves. And let's see how the game play. The game starts with a pawn to d4, d5, bishop to f4, bishop to f5, then E3 and E6, and here you have the very symmetrical opening. And after this, the knight to F3, knight to F6, then the bishop to D3, trying to attack the bishop. Then the black just move the bishop to G6, and this is the first 5 move, and you can see that the position is slightly better for the white. Then the game continue with white go for a short castling. Then the black develop the bishop and preparing for a castling. After this, bishop to g5 trying to pin the, and then the black trying to attack with the pawn to c5. Here c3 was played trying to protect the pawn, and after this the black just developed the knight, and this is the first 8 move, and the position is equal. And after this the white just capture the bishop at g6, bishop takes g6, capture the bishop, then the pawn capture, and this pawn capture allowing the rook to have the attack at the h2 pawn, and this open up the h file. After this the knight b to d2, and after this the queen to c7, and here you have the attack on the pawn at h2, and this also allowed the king to go for a queen side castling, or also you can go for a king side castling. And this is the first 10 move, and the position is equal for both sides. And the white don't want to give up the pawn and just move a h3 in this game. So after this move, the knight to e4, trying to attack the bishop as well. And here, and this capture it back, then the pawn will attack the knight at f3. Then the knight just moved to d2 with the idea from f3 to d2, then to c4, and capture the bishop at d6. And after this move, the black play f6 trying to chase away the bishop at g5. After this, the pawn just capture the c5 pawn, and then the bishop to e5. Another suggestion you can play is to move bishop to h2 to check, and this will keep the upper the hand, which means you give black the better position. After king goes to h1, then you can go for a long castling, and the rook will pin the knight. So in the actual game, bishop e5 was played. After this, the bishop to e4, and this is one of a good move to trade off the bishop. And if the bishop move away, then you're able to capture the queen. So this forced the black to capture, and now the e to capture back again, and now the pawn captured by the queen. Queen takes f4, and strongly threatening with the long castling, and the rook will come here and attack the knight, and also the queen will just capture the knight. So queen e2 was played, and after this f5 from the black keep on having a good pawn structure in the middle of the board. Then the knight to c4, and now the knight continue to play knight to e5, trying to put the knight nearer to the king. And now after this move, the knight just go to d6 and check the king and trying to attack the pawn. And also it allowed the queen continue to play queen to b5 and continue to check the king as well. And also it can bring the rook to the d file to the attack. So back to this position, another idea that the white can play will be f3. Then if the queen goes to g3, then the knight will just capture. And after the queen capture, then the queen goes to a check. And if the king to e7, the queen will continue to capture the b7 pawn, check. And if the king goes to f6, then the queen goes to b4, protect the pawn and give a very good structure. And the next d and trade off the queen. If this position, if the pawn capture the pawn, then the rook will capture the pawn and go for a sacrifice. And if the knight capture, then queen will continue to check. And if the king goes to f2, then the queen will continue to g3 and check. And if the king backs to hg1, then the queen continue to check, and the king back to f2, then you can, if you continue to check, it will be a perpetual check, and due to a 3-4 repetition, and you'll be a draw. So after this move, you can just continue make a long castling and continue the game, and this will also have the equal game. So if you make any move such as a pawn goes to a3, and now the situation is different because the queen will continue to goes to g3 check and will be made in the next 3 move, because after king goes to g1, then now the rook will goes to d to h8, and you have the checkmate with the rook. And at this position, nothing the white can prevent the checkmate. And if you move the queen goes to h5, you just delay the checkmate, and the rook will just either the rook 3 or the rook 8 to capture the queen, and the checkmate will be in the next move. So if you capture with the rook and any move such as a pawn capture, then you have a rook h1 checkmate. So the castling will be a very interesting idea to bring the rook to the h8 and checkmate the white. So in the actual game, after knight e5, then the knight check. Then after the knight check, here one of the interesting move, which is move the king forward to e7, and this move will use the king to attack the knight, and this pawn cannot be moved away. So this move, after this move, the knight also can come to f3 and go for a sacrifice, and with that winning the game, and the rook will be able to capture the h3 pawn. So after this move, in the actual game, the white play queen to b5 with the idea of able to capture the pawn and check the king. However, this move is a tactical blunder, and after this move the black is winning the game and mate in 4. I give a couple of seconds to figure out how the continuation of the black to play and mate in 4. Well, congratulations for those who found the answer, and for those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves that the black play and mate and win the game. And the bigger move is moving the knight to check the king. So after this knight to f3 check, then if the king move to h1, you will checkmate with the queen to h2 checkmate. So in the actual game, after the knight check, then the pawn capture, and after the pawn capture, you have the rook to g5 continue to check, and this create some sort like a back rank checkmate, but this happened on the file. And if the king move to h1, then the rook will capture and it will be a checkmate. So after this move, if you move the kings to h2, now you have a brilliant move of rook takes the h3 pawn, and with this the white resign the game. And if you don't continue the game, the rook capture, then now the king capture, and here you have the rook to h8 and checkmate the king. So after rook to h8, and the white has nothing to defend the game. And with this, thank you.